Why do doctors need a coach? That was the question answered by Matt Lowman, super coach to the doctor community at the Functional Forum.
Matt, let me ask you this. Like, we talked a lot about patients needing coaches. What do you see as the difference when a doctor has a coach? Because you're a super coach, but for doctors and practitioners, not for patients.
It's the same thing. I mean, you can't see the forest through the trees. And you also don't have the skills, and that's not a knock, because you've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and thousands of hours learning your clinical training. I don't pretend to know near as much clinically as you guys, but I've spent the same amount of time and a lot more money learning the business education, and I've already hit the low-lying limbs. I have hundreds of clinics that I've worked with. We tested everything. I know what works. I know what doesn't work out there. So part of it is I've hit the low-lying limbs, but having somebody that can guide you along the way and give you a step-by-step process to figure out the business system, because what I find is we're all tend to be good at things we like, and we're not good at things we don't like, right? So most people don't really like the business side of things because they're not really that good at it, and that's not what they went to school for. That's not what they studied. That's not what their passion is. That's not where their heart is. Their heart is serving people. But what you have to understand is, if we can't serve people effectively and provide for our families, then we're not going to serve anybody. And when you're stressed out financially, it affects everybody. It affects your patients. It affects your staff. It affects your family. And so if you're not going to if you can't make a phenomenal living and have plenty of free time and enjoy the life, we're not going to spread this mission forward, because the practitioners who maybe are on the fence and considering it will look at it and say, that's not for me, because I've got a mortgage to pay. And I've had these conversations. I'll speak. I was at a conference earlier this year, and I had a practitioner come up to me. This was a holistic functional medicine conference. And the guy very honestly came up to me and he said, I want to open a practice so bad and do wellness, but I can't because I'm married and I have 3 kids. And I said, well, what does that mean? He said, well, I've got to put food on the table and I don't know how to do the business side, and everybody I look around is not doing well financially. I said, what do you do now for a living? He said, I'm ashamed to say. And I said, well, why? And he said, I work for the pharmaceutical companies. I'm a drug rep. And he said, I hate what I do. I work for Darth Vader. He's like, I work for the enemy. And so, again, how do we give them a roadmap to help them become successful and recruit more doctors over? Well, part of it's going to be making sure that you're more successful. Because when you're successful and they see, okay, not only are you successful financially, not only are you successful in patient outcomes, but you have plenty of free time to enjoy your families, well, now it becomes a lot more attractive. And now we can disrupt the space. So that's really the intention behind it.
I mean, my training was in economics, and in order for this to flourish and for the niche to become the mainstream, you have to send signals into the market that this is the place to be. And when I went down to Matt's conference a couple of weeks ago, I just saw these are practitioners that are thriving in practice, and the ripple effects of them empowering their teams and empowering, as a result, all of their patients, and then the ripple effects out there. That's the solution. That's where we need to get to. And so this is what we're going to, really put forward.
Thanks so much for watching. And for more great clips like this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I've created a special free video just for you called Harnessing the Power of Community in Your Practice. And it'll give you a clinical model, practical tools that double as marketing, and strategies to develop a community of your peers. All you have to do is click on the link below.